Welcome to Grace. Never heard of her. I'm Gina.
And I'm Maddie. We're two moms, two friends, two overstimulated women navigating motherhood, new identities, and careers, all while challenging society's expectations and redefining what it means to do it all.
Because Grace, well, never heard of her, but word is she's worth getting to know.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, Gina. We made it.
Time flies when you're having fun and bitching about parenthood.
I mean, we could go on for years.
It's great, too, because we come together every week with fresh drama.
Content.
Literally fresh content to talk about. I'm eager to hear, though, how things have been going over at Casa de Rico.
Parker is, I call him my Sour Patch Kid because he is the sweetest little boy. Yet he has a very sour side. And actually, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, being a boy mom and most likely having gone through this before. I am finding with Parker, my patience is wearing very thin with him when he is in these sour states where he throws things constantly, he does not listen, he runs away from you, he is just destructive and on a mission, like a little terror. And Tyler and I are just, I think, struggling because not that Zoe didn't have her moments or meltdowns or anything like that, but she never really had throwing phase or just a super destructive phase. So this is new to us. And we kind of just snap. We're like, stop. Like all the time, Parker, stop. And we know this is not how to handle it and it's not going to actually change his behavior. But I think it's just, we're in it. We're in the thick of it.
First of all, I'm sorry. I don't smile to make light of it, but it is so accurate, everything you're describing. It's crazy. How can these little humans find every one of our trigger points and buttons and just push?
Yeah.
Okay, for our listeners, a little bit of context here. As Maddie said, Zoe was not quite this way. She was a typical toddler. She had her feelings and emotions. And I say this from being around her all the time because we did our nanny share together. And I just remember watching Leo go through what you're describing Parker going through and being like, my kid's broken. Somebody come in here and fix him. Why can't he be like her? She's so sweet. She's just like sitting and doing what she's told. But yeah, boys just like, oh my God, they hit so different. And I will say I am the farthest thing from an expert. In fact, my kids were so feral this weekend that I was doing the same thing. I was just snapping and I was just like, why is everybody crying? Why is everybody crying? There's nothing to cry about. That is so outside of what I had always strived to do. But sometimes you just literally can't. I mean, right? We all have our breaking point. That's what I realized. What I can tell you is that some things that have worked for us with our boys in the past, two things actually. The first one being showing them what you want them to do. This sounds so bad, but it's like almost like training a dog. You can't pee on the floor in the house, but here you can pee in the grass. Good boy, here's a treat. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
For example, Leo's older now, so we don't need to do this with him as much. But around this 2-year-old age, it was a lot of if they're throwing a cup. We don't throw cups. We drink out of our cups and we can throw balls. Here's a ball. Do you want to throw balls? Same thing with hitting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you hit me, but you want to high five me? You can high five me. So that would help a lot because I think it's their brain being like, oh, I'm not being told no. I'm just being told it's this other thing that I can do. I wouldn't say it's foolproof, but it works a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And easier said than done, requires patience. But the other thing I would say that especially for Leo, as he's getting older, is I have to gamify everything. Everything. When I tell you how exhausting that is, literally to put on a pair of pants, I can't just be like, Leo, come here. It's time to get your pants on. Nope. He'll start running.
Yeah.
He'll start rolling around. And I'm like, put on your godforsaken pants. We need to get to daycare. Like, I can just
Yes.
feel my blood. I'm just like, just put on your pants. And I don't want to get into the habit of bribing either. Or I don't even want to get into the habit of threatening. If you don't put on your pants. And obviously, I go to both of those things time and time again. But what really works is when I make it a game. Leo, last time you put on your pants in 10 seconds. Can we do it in 5 seconds? And then he
So
runs
true.
over and he gets those pants on faster than you've ever seen. It's so frustrating, I think, as a parent because I know what works, but I don't have the energy to do it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I know what I should be doing in this moment because I've seen it. I've seen the results, but I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
Just put on your goddamn pants.
1,000%. I'm there with you in the morning. And I think it's just funny because we all have our schedules and routines.
Right.
But is this part of what kids are supposed to be teaching us about slowing down? And why are we constantly rushing and
Yeah.
putting that pressure on ourselves? Don't get me wrong. I do the same thing in the morning. And I am like, how many times do I have to tell you, go to the bathroom, get your clothes on, let's get out the door? But you're so right. And I remember reading a parenting book about this. Gamification was definitely one. They would give you like 10 different tools of things you can try. Like, hey, when we're mad, should we draw a picture or should we act it out or whatever it may be? And you have to find the tools that work for your kids. And obviously amazing. You found what works for Leo, but you're right. It's exhausting because you're at your capacity, you're at your limit. And now you have to play games.
Something that I think you and I have talked about before is with our first, we had so much more capacity, more patience, maybe more even, dare I say, determination to implement these practices. I just remember being so much more patient and just almost up for the challenge. I'm going to do these things and I'm going to see how it works. And yeah, now with 2, I don't have those same thoughts. If anything, I'm just so much more frustrated, so much more quickly than I have been before. And I think something else that I'm not proud of that naturally happens too is I kind of take out my frustration of a natural event on the children. Example, if Jonah's doing something and Leo takes something away from him and Jonah has a meltdown, now I'm mad at Leo. You know what I mean? Even though that's
Yeah.
a normal kid thing to do, it can just be a moment where I'm like, hey, Leo, we share our toys, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like, Leo? And he can sense that, and I hate that. Or vice versa. If Jonah is having a meltdown and then Leo starts crying because Jonah's crying, I'm like, Jonah, look what you're doing. I hate that my instinct is to go there, to blame and to shame, because I hate that feeling for myself. Have you ever been in a situation, whether it be a vacation or maybe when you have a lot of help around, where things just don't bother you and you're just like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. And I can tell you for myself, the times that happens when I'm not at home. I remember visiting a friend once with Leo, and I remember waking up and just wanting to spend time with him. We were just spending the whole day together. He was an angel. And I
Yeah.
remember being like, why don't you act like this at home? And I'm like, oh, yeah, because at home, I see laundry. Everything's a mess. I see all these to-do lists in front of me. And so then when you're getting in the way of that, I want to rage.
Yeah. 100%. I actually was just seeing it was either somebody wrote something or there was a video on it that it was like, I don't need a break from my kids. I need a break from having to manage absolutely everything on top of being with my kids.
Yes.
And that's, I think, it's the mental load. It's the mental load that we're constantly feeling when we're in our own space, when we don't have help, outside help, or whatever it may be. You're hitting your limits. You're hitting the wall because you're maybe overstimulated. You've just done a million tasks at home. You're making appointments. You're making dinner. You're managing a household. You're managing your career. You're trying to manage your kids. It's too much. We are not built to do this alone or to be doing it the way that we're doing it. And so I think what you were probably experiencing is you had that out-of-body experience of, I have help. I don't have to be managing anything. I truly can just be.
Yes.
And we deserve to enjoy our kids like that.
Isn't that crazy that that's so aspirational of just to just coexist with our children? You bring up such a good point because not long ago we had some friends come over when my mother-in-law was in town. They came over like right around bedtime because I wanted them to see the kids and, be able to interact with them a little bit, but then I also wanted them to just go to bed so we can all go out to dinner. And I was like, this is what the other side feels like to have a nanny, because my mother-in-law, Mamo is her grandma named Mamo, fed the kids. The kids came downstairs. They were playing with us. And then they're like, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And I was like, great. Mamo's upstairs. They ran upstairs. We sat in the basement. We had a glass of wine. And then they came
nice.
downstairs one more time to say goodnight. And then I was like, bye. It was euphoric because I'm like, I get it now. If
Yeah.
this was the norm, I get why people have multiple kids. I get it makes sense because to your point, I got to enjoy them and then go away. So what I think the thing is that I feel the most is I don't want to be their caretakers all the time.
Yes.
And when we get relieved of being the caretaker, when we get to just enjoy them, and then when they're tired, cranky, need a diaper change, when somebody else can swoop in, it's the
Yeah.
dream. And then I
100%.
also don't get as frustrated when I do have to deal with those things. Every time Chris and we try to take turns sleeping in the morning. So if I get a Saturday, he gets a Sunday. And 100% of the time, I'm ready to go after a good morning, kind of just stay in bed for a little bit. Maybe I do some scrolling, organize my thoughts. And then like someone starts freaking out and I'm like, oh my God, no, we're all happy. Let's make pancakes.
Yeah.
But when you're just in it all the time, and it's just relentless.
It's so hard.
How do we
Yeah.
give ourselves grace?
Well, it's funny you say that. We were actually at a wedding this past weekend, and people with either, one child or are thinking about starting a family were asking us, how is it? How are 2 kids? What's it like? And I feel like it's funny because my go-to answer now is, well, we live near grandparents. So we
Yeah.
do. We have help and we have that community that, I mean, don't get me wrong, we had you guys in Texas, but we were all in the thick of it. We didn't have extra capacity.
Couldn't just say, here, take my kids while we get some house projects done.
I think I've come to the conclusion and would love your thoughts on this because we keep saying everybody needs a community, everybody needs a village, but that looks different for everyone. And I know you're definitely experiencing some of these changes too. And I think if you don't have the familial or the friend support, then your community and village almost needs to be paid help. And that's not accessible for everyone. I don't see a way forward if you can't get those breaks, if you can't take off that mental load. And I think that's something I wish we had done in Texas. I wish we had paid for more help. I wish we had taken more date nights. I wish we had just not taken on literally the weight of everything all the time. And again, I feel like that sounds very privileged to say. I wish we had just paid for help because I know that's not always realistic and maybe it wasn't realistic for us at the time, but I think you almost need to prioritize that.
You do. No, I actually am so glad you brought this up because I think that this is something, if Leo and Jonah ever decide they want to have kids, I'm going to say the same thing. You have to think ahead about help. What does that look like? And not everybody has family and friends. I remember before Leo was born, it was okay. And before we bought a house, how much mortgage are we willing to pay if we account for daycare, if we account for diapers, formula? Village wasn't a box in the Excel sheet. And you're so right. It's one of those things too that it's like, if I could pay $150 for a babysitter or $150 for a new piece of furniture, I'm going to pick the furniture and then say, oh, it's fine. I'll just push through with the kids. It's always the thing that I rationalize myself out of. I couldn't agree more with you that it's just so hard. It really is. We don't live near any family, and it's just been really difficult. We came back to Chicago. We knew we have our best friends. They live 10 minutes away. They just had a baby. When we say we're in the thick of it, they are in the thick of it.
They are.
So I know that time will come. I know we will be that that support for each other. I know that time will come. In the meantime, though, we don't really have anybody else. We have a lot of friends and we have a lot of great people, but nobody lives super close and everybody has their own kids and their own lives and everyone's trying to manage. And so there has been these moments where, for example, Chris is going to be out of town this weekend. The kids are off. I'm not. Chris isn't going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So like I'm thinking to myself all day Saturday, all day Sunday, all day Monday, like it's on me. That is a lot for the age that they're in. I
Yeah.
know that it's doable. I don't want to sit here and say, woe is me, because mothers do that times 10 more and probably
Yeah.
don't complain about it. But for me, it's daunting to picture, what am I going to do all day? Jonah's running into the street. He's doing the thing now too where you try to pick him up and he dead weights, like he just falls. And I'm just like, I can't handle this right now. I'm by myself. And so in some situations, you're taking away that village. You're now at max capacity. Then you're being told you have to gentle parent. And if you yell at your kid, they're going to be scarred for life. And if you feed them chicken nuggets, they're going to die a gruesome death. And if you send them to daycare, they're developmentally stunted. And then they're like, but good luck. Go get them. Go raise our future. It's so hard. So hard.
I mean, and this is where us finding grace comes in, right? Because I mean, grace, maybe it's not just brushing things off your shoulder because it's impossible to do that, but maybe it's, hey, yeah, I hit my limit and I yelled at my kid, but you know what? I then went back and I repaired with my child. And the repair part is what we keep hearing is most important. And so that's more connection and trust and respect that's built with our kids. Maybe that's what it means to find grace is, hey, I did the best I freaking could and I made mistakes and I'm trying to fix those mistakes or right whatever wrongs I feel so I don't have to carry that guilt on top of everything else I'm feeling.
Oh my God, Maddie, wait, I have to tell you what happened this weekend. And my eyes may water because it was the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed. I'm going to put Chris on the hot seat for a minute because he has very similar feelings about all of this, right? And this weekend was tough for us. And there was a moment where Chris just snapped and he was like, Leo, he raised his voice. He's like, Leo, stop it. Enough. Leo instantly started crying. He's fine. But Chris and I both are actively trying to not yell. We were yelled at as kids, hated it. And so Chris was so upset with himself. I could see it in his face. Like the minute he did it, he walked away and I was just like, I know he's beating himself up. I think Gina a few years ago would have been like, hey, don't yell at him. But I was able to see in that moment that it was out of this point of just pure desperation for peace, not to hurt anybody, not to hurt Leo especially. But I say all that because Chris came back to Leo. He got on the ground with him. He's like, Leo, I'm so sorry, buddy. I should have not yelled at you. And Leo came over to him and you could tell he was a little, I'm going to say uncomfortable, but he was kind of like giggling in a very serious situation. But because I think, right, it's not typical where you see a father figure get down on the ground being so vulnerable and be like, forgive me. I'm here to earn your forgiveness. Chris was like, I'm so sorry. And Leo's like, it's okay, Daddy. I forgive you.
I love that.
My eyes were watering. They hugged. It was so beautiful. I go, Daddy's a great daddy, isn't he? And he goes, he is. He goes, but Daddy, sometimes you yell at me and it hurts my feelings. And Chris was like, I'm so sorry. Thank you for telling me that. It was beautiful. I was proud of both of them, but especially Chris, because I think as mothers, it's our instinct to want to nurture and be soft. I don't want to generalize for everybody, but biologically, I've been told that's kind of where our role comes in. And dads are more of the tough safety motivators. And just to see him break that generational norm and be vulnerable, to me was the manliest thing I've ever seen. That right there, that's the kind of boys I want to raise, is ones that can be in tune with their emotions. You're not weak. You made a mistake. You got dysregulated. You had trouble, controlling it, and then you repaired. And Leo, it was fine after that. You could tell when he feels seen and heard and validated, and it's not this like, well, I'm the parent, you're the kid, deal with it. I can yell if I want to. It was a really beautiful moment that I admired and just am going to try to remember when I lose my patience too. You're not the problem. Mommy is frustrated. Mommy's having a hard time regulating emotions. It's not because of you, even though it is. Let's be honest, it is because of you. But I'm not going to let you know that. So I'm glad you brought that up because I would have completely forgotten how great that moment was and what that looked like.
Yay for Chris. That's amazing. Even if he is a Lions fan.
The Lions did really well this weekend, by the way.
Good for them.
You know what's so funny though? He's like, the Lions were up, and now the other team. Who are they playing? The Bengals. The Bengals are coming back. Like they should have been doing better than this. I'm like, Chris, we have seen this happen. The Lions do better when they have nothing to lose. When they have everything to lose, they choke. It's what happened last season. They had the best season, 14 wins in a row. And I'm like, this is every game they won. I was like, this is bad. This is bad. They need a break. They need to release the pressure valve because the more they keep winning, the more people are expecting from them. And boom, what happened? So I was like, this is good. We need to get out some of the kinks now.
This feels like a great parallel to parenthood. Should we release the valve, take the pressure off us moms and parents?
Maddie? Yes!
We need to tell Chris and Tyler, look, we talked about football.
They're going to be proud. But you're right. We're going to have kinks. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to be burnt out. We're going to want to get away from our kids, even though that doesn't change how much we love them. And maybe when we can do that, we'll be less hard on ourselves in the moments where we are failing, or not failing, I should say, but we're struggling to implement the things that we deep down want to implement or be or do. So thank you, Lions.
I feel like I do have to caveat too, because so this past weekend, Tyler and I had a wedding. We left the kids with my parents, and then we came back from the
Fun.
wedding. Great. Was lovely. We said, can you keep them an extra night? Because we're going to do house projects.
I'm so happy for you. / jealous.
You could tell the next day, the kids were excited to see us. We were excited to see the kids. And I don't want to take away from that. 5 minutes in, turned and looked at my mom and it was like, this blissful halo, it doesn't last long. It's gone. It's gone already.
Parker throws socks in the toilet and you're just like, and we're back. We're back.
We're going back to Juju and Cappy's.
Right? All that buildup of the break, this is so nice. God, in an instant. It's so hard too, right? Everybody always says, oh, this time goes so fast. You're going to blink and it's over. And it's like, okay, but I hate that it has to just be all or nothing. It's either enjoy it, be present, love it, but also don't wish it all away. I just wish there was somewhere in the middle. I read in a book, it's called Parenting from the Inside Out. I haven't read the whole thing, but I have heard through many sources, Debbie, that it's an incredible book for healing generational trauma, your own self-dysregulation and stuff. So it's on my to-do list. But one of the sentences that I read that really stood out to me was children are not meant to be managed. They're meant to be enjoyed. And when I think about people losing their kids or, infertility struggles or things that just really remind me how lucky I am to have 2 healthy kids, sometimes that jolts me back into a headspace of I don't need to manage every single thing that they do. Let me just enjoy them.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of effort to put myself in that space, but I do. I always have the best time with the kids when I'm in that headspace because the little things just don't bother me. And I think that they can pick up on all of that. I think they sense our tension. It's like the more you say no, the louder you yell. That's not going to change their behavior. That's only going to cause that disconnect. Okay. So Jonah's splashing some dirty water out in the backyard in the play chest.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm uncomfortable because now I have to clean it up. I have to go change his clothes. Right. So it's yes and. So yes, it is annoying and it is frustrating and it's not his fault that I'm annoyed because I don't want to have to clean. That's my problem. He's just trying to be a kid. So I try to remember that, but I will say it
I love that.
fades pretty quick. So this is a good reminder.
I think that's the thing. I think we just need to keep recentering ourselves and bringing it back. Unfortunately, the reality of we're gonna go down a path one day and then we need to kind of check in with ourselves and see where we're at. And I think it goes back to us talking about finding joy for ourselves in the everyday, that I think if you do like a check-in with yourself too, is there joy you can create for your children in the week that going back to time goes so fast and you should enjoy your kids and enjoy every moment? Is there a moment you can create this week? Do you have the capacity to break the routine or whatever it is to create a moment of joy, or just breaking that routine even gets everyone in a different headspace? Can you go to a playground after school instead of trying to rush home to do the routine of dinner and baths or showers and bedtime? Can we all just kind of like shake things up? But I think you do. You need to have capacity because it might go wrong. For example, we tried to do this a couple weeks ago. We tried to take the kids to the beach after school on a Friday. They both sat shivering, crying on the beach for 15 minutes before we were like, all right, this isn't working. We're just going to go home. But we've taken them to a playground after school some days, and it's the best. They have the best time, and it's good for everybody. So I think we need to find joy that's just for us, for ourselves, but maybe we can try and create joy for our kids.
Look at you. So philosophical. I love it. And as you were talking, something I just thought of too was I think about it like couples relationship management, right? Chris and I have been in maintenance couples therapy for years now. I think since we got pregnant with Jonah. And one of the things that they talk about is recognizing those signs of when you need to connect again. Okay, we've been arguing, we've been fighting a lot. It's time to call a babysitter and go have a night. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing where I'm losing my temper all the time. I'm not feeling present. I'm not enjoying my kids. I'm burning out. Instead of just continuing, it's like that temperature check of, okay, something's got to change, whether that's self-care for yourself or the routine. But I like that because I think something I'm not doing that I really want to start doing is preparing for that to come and resetting, like you said, versus just being like, okay, now let's start again and I'm just going to be great this time. I'm thinking of like the sign where it's like 0 days since meltdown or something. And you're going to go back to zero, right? So I think I have this mindset of like, I got to just keep the days going. But no, today's the day. I hit my wall. We're done. Back to zero. Let's go reset. Tomorrow's a new day. I love that. Actually really gives me a new perspective to think about as we move forward. That's why I love this podcast.
Right.
That's why I love talking to you.
Seriously.
This is why us moms, we need to air it out.
Yeah, therapy.
Okay, so what are you going to do to find joy this week?
It's pre-planned. Tomorrow, I'm calling it our last day of summer. It's our last 80-degree day of weather, and I'm not even a seafood person. But there's this cute little seafood place that has outdoor picnic tables. We've wanted to go to it since we moved back. We haven't, and we already made plans to get the kids early and meet my in-laws, and we're going to do dinner outside tomorrow night and just
Cute.
break the routine and wrap up summer, and that's what we're going to do.
I love that. So fun.
Yeah. How about you?
Let's see. I have been working on a faux fireplace mantle in our living room. And I went to Home Depot yesterday and bought a bunch of wood and paint.
Woo!
And so I know. Wow, times have changed. So I'm excited. Post bedtime, I'm going to pour a glass of wine and work on this project that I've been so excited to bring to life. And that's going to be my joy for the week. So I'm excited to do that. That's been one of those things where every day I look at it and I'm just like, I just want to do this so bad, but I just find other things to do. So let's do it and just make it really cozy. Especially I want to finish before the holidays so I can hang stockings and, Christmas tree.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, you have to share pictures when it's done.
I will.
And can we do 2 nights of joy this week? As you prepare for Chris to go out of town, can you get out of the house and have a night to yourself?
I still have a gift card, a massage and a facial gift card that I have had since my birthday in March.
Go, book it. Go.
And then you know what? That's great because then this weekend I'm going to be all rested and ready. Also, I found this pumpkin festival thingy And I think we're going to take the kids next weekend. So I'm excited about that because I love doing stuff like that. That's an example of what brings me joy, with also bringing our kids joy, because it's fun, out of the norm, seeing them light up, seeing life through their eyes. And I heard there's a giraffe you get to feed. I don't know.
A real one?
Yeah. We'll report back. Well, I officially feel therapized.
Yes, same. Lighter.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye. And that concludes your free therapy session, brought to you by two people with lots of opinions and zero certifications. Don't forget to bill your insurance, emotionally or otherwise. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at GraceWhoPod. That's Grace, WHO Pod.
Tune in next time for another deep dive into something we'll probably overthink and under-resolve. And while our search for grace continues, let's at least try to find a little joy in between.